All right, let's get right into it. There's a massive story unfolding in the financial world that has everyone talking, and that's the incredible surge in Bitcoin's price. If you've been anywhere near the news, you've seen some absolutely jaw-dropping numbers.
And yeah, that's the number that has captured the world's attention, $75,000. A huge milestone that has a lot of people asking, is this just history repeating itself, or is something fundamentally different going on this time around?
Okay, so let's dig in here, because this quote really hits the nail on the head. The story isn't just about that big price tag you see on the screen. The real story, the one we're unpacking today, is about a massive shift happening behind the curtain. A shift that's being driven by some of the biggest names in finance.
So what is that story?
Well, it's pretty simple. Wall Street is finally, and I mean finally, going all in on Bitcoin. And this isn't just another small chapter in Bitcoin's wild history. No, this is the main event. This is what's driving this entire rally.
Think back to that last big bull run in 2021. That was mostly fueled by regular investors. A lot of hype, a lot of excitement. What's happening right now? It's a completely different animal. And you can boil that difference down to just two words: institutional adoption. And trust me, that changes everything.
So what does institutional adoption even mean? It's pretty straightforward. It means the big dogs of finance, we're talking massive firms that manage trillions with a T of dollars, they are no longer just watching from the sidelines. They are actively in the game, buying and holding Bitcoin for themselves and for their clients.
And we're talking about the absolute heavyweights here, names like BlackRock and Fidelity. The floodgates really open with the recent approval of major Bitcoin ETFs, that's exchange-traded funds, right here in the United States. This created like a superhighway for all this institutional money to pour into the market easily and in a regulated way.
And the economic result of all this? It's huge. When you have this much new, relentless demand coming from these giant buyers and you crash that into Bitcoin's very limited supply, you get what's being called a supply shock. I mean, these institutions are literally buying up Bitcoin faster than it can be mined. That's a dynamic this market has never, ever seen before on this scale.
Okay, so that's the Wall Street angle. But why should you care? How does this connect to our everyday lives? Well, that brings us to this idea of the hunt for digital gold, because it ties directly into the economic pressures that, let's be honest, a lot of us are feeling right now.
You know what I'm talking about. Whether you're at the grocery store or filling up your car, you can feel it. The value of our money, the purchasing power of the dollar, it's changing. And whenever that happens, people start looking for a safe place to park their savings, a way to protect their wealth from eroding.
For our parents' and grandparents' generations, that ultimate safe place, that safe haven asset was always gold, right? It was the go-to hedge against inflation and all kinds of uncertainty. Well, now a whole new generation is starting to see Bitcoin in that exact same light, dubbing it digital gold.
And that's really the heart of it. It's a move away from the traditional centralized financial systems and towards these new decentralized assets. This whole hunt for a safe haven isn't happening in a vacuum. It's a direct response to some really big shifts happening in the global economy. But let's pump the brakes for a second. With this kind of massive opportunity, there's always significant risk. So to get the whole picture, we have to look at the other side of the coin, which is the wild volatility that's just part of the deal in this market.
So, is it all just sunshine and rainbows? Straight up to the moon? Absolutely not. It is so easy to get swept up in the excitement when prices are flying high. But this journey is almost never a straight line up.
So what are the risks we need to keep in mind? Well, first off, regulators like the SEC are watching this space like a hawk, and nobody really knows what future rules could look like. Second, as anyone who's been around crypto knows, the market corrections, they can be brutal, sudden, and severe. And finally, the hype itself can be a real danger, pushing people to make emotional decisions instead of informed ones.
And that leads us to probably the single most important point we'll make. The whole point of this explainer is to break down what's happening based on the reporting out there. It is not financial advice. The biggest takeaway here should be to stay informed and to always do your own research.
Okay, so we've got the institutional rush, we've got this powerful digital gold story, and we've got some very serious risks. So where does all of this lead? Well, that brings us to the big $100,000 question.
And this is the debate that's raging everywhere right now. Are we watching the dawn of a new financial era with Bitcoin blazing a trail to even crazier valuations? Or is all this unprecedented hype just creating a massive bubble that's just waiting to pop? That's the question we're left with. And honestly, only time is going to give us the answer.